we appeared to have all this money, or we appeared to be rich, or we appeared, you were in the business.
It's painful. It is painful.
Blake Lively is spiraling as Justin Baldoni's family, especially his father, steps in to defend him against her lies.
Yeah, the true story was I was broke as shit in an abusive relationship.
Sam Baldoni isn't just supporting his son, he's ensuring the world sees who the real villain is.
Many boys are abused.
And how that screws us.
that happens.
How that screws us up. Because my whole perspective on sex and women,
Yeah.
with what I experienced at a young age and never talked about it, like that was one of the things I had with my dad. Like, if you would have talked to me about some stuff.
Blake is no longer just fighting Justin. She's now up against his entire family. What began as a messy legal battle with Justin Baldoni has taken a brutal turn. His family stepped in, dragging her mercilessly.
All the things that we haven't talked about.
Lively believed she could manipulate her way through the situation, underestimating the power of a family that stands by its own. In response, Sam Baldoni came out swinging, making it clear his son had suffered for far too long at the hands of this woman.
All I've done as a father was whatever I could to help you. So I didn't want ever anybody to think that I've done anything to help you. But
this isn't just a petty celebrity feud. It's become a full-scale Hollywood battleground, with major studios, media outlets, and A-list stars picking sides.
As a response to this, she was getting a lot of hate.
Sam Baldoni saw enough of Blake's victim narrative and knew it was time to set the record straight. Instead of issuing a public statement like Lively might have done, Sam, a pro at subtlety, dropped.
In some ways, I was living out also one of your dreams, and I felt like I wanted to free myself of that. But we never talked about it. I was suffering. We never talked about anything. You're my dad, and I was having resentment for all the stuff we don't talk about.
A shady TikTok clip went viral, showing a bulletin board that painted Justin Baldoni as a Hollywood saint. The kicker? A simple caption that spoke volumes. Everyone instantly knew who was being roasted.
My dad. That's your job. It's your job to do whatever you can to do to help your son, right? So I think that there felt like this stickiness, like this.
The internet gasped. It was a subtle jab, but the most direct insult possible. Blake and Ryan Reynolds weren't named, but the post went viral and people took sides. Team Baldoni.
I think that today, and what you're going through, and the therapy that we've all been going through.
Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively may have stayed silent, but sources close to them say they were furious behind the scenes. But what could they do? Cry on Instagram? Sue someone?
Oh, this was pure evil genius. It read, "In a world full of Blakes and Ryans, be a Justin."
You knew it wasn't going to be easy. We're going to talk about stuff. And you showed up anyways. And you listened.
Because I love you.
You too, Daddy.
Meanwhile, the Baldoni family remained untouchable, united, and unbothered. They weren't going to let Lively bulldoze Justin's career without a fight.
If everyone can tag Justin Baldoni to his video, it would mean the world.
Blake thought she could recover from Sam Baldoni's social media strike, but then the Hollywood Reporter decided to throw her under the bus, again. Their February 21st cover was brutal, mocking Blake's legal case with a cartoon that painted her as desperate.
I have been trying to reach out to you for the longest. I have everything of you.
The cover depicted Blake absurdly using a slingshot to fire a phone at Justin Baldoni, referencing her attempt to subpoena his text messages to validate her claims. A major Hollywood publication roasting her? That meant the industry was turning on her.
I'm sure he'll have critics. Blake, I'm sure he brought the terminally ill person for the... I don't buy that at all. I don't buy that at all. This person was all over TikTok trying to make this happen.
Blake exploded, accusing the Hollywood Reporter of sexism and belittling harassment claims. But no one cared. The cover went viral, and Blake's image as a victim crumbled.
Insulted Blake Lively blasts sexist. The Hollywood Reporter cover lampooning her Justin Baldoni lawsuit. Should be ashamed of yourself.
Her PR team scrambled, releasing a statement, but no one was listening. Hollywood wasn't silencing her. They were exposing her for orchestrating a PR stunt that backfired spectacularly.
Blake Lively blasted the Hollywood Reporter for its February 21st cover. Rob, can you pull up whatever the cover is? Which featured a cartoon mocking her lawsuit against it. Ends with, is this it?
Yes.
Ends with co-star Justin Baldoni calling it outrageously insulting.
Justin Baldoni didn't even need to respond. The Baldoni family had already set the narrative, and the media did the rest. Blake's downfall was unfolding before her eyes.
Playing into every sexist trope, the illustration depicts Lively using a slingshot to fire a cell phone at Baldoni. referencing her legal team's attempt to subpoena his text messages. A spokesperson for Lively condemned the magazine, saying the Hollywood Reporter should be ashamed of itself.
Blake had controlled the narrative before, presenting herself as a brave warrior against Hollywood misogyny. But after the Hollywood Reporter cover, that image shattered. The industry was mocking her, and the biggest power players were distancing themselves.
Every single thing that she's claimed against him has been disproved.
So he was a class act throughout the entire process.
Yeah.
The Baldoni family sat back, watching as the media tore Blake apart. Sam had made his point, and now Hollywood was doing the rest.
And as a response to this, she was getting a lot of hate.
Blake's career is in freefall, and she has no one to blame but herself. The internet found every bit of hypocrisy, and old interviews resurfaced, showing Blake's manipulative side. She was no innocent victim. She was a privileged actress who played the victim card when things didn't go her way.
And when there was negative backlash as a result, they painted all these false allegations against Justin in order to try to get back the power in the...
Blake's credibility crumbled as she tried to flip the blame onto Justin, claiming a smear campaign. But the damage was done. This wasn't just a PR issue. This was the start of her Hollywood downfall.
They're just highlighting, this is a mean girl. This isn't a good person. And in response to this, what she did was she created a smear campaign against Baldoni, stating that actually he was making a smear campaign against her. And that's the reason why she had all of this negative backlash.
As if things couldn't get worse, Justin's team released cold hard text message receipts exposing every lie Blake had told. One of her biggest claims, that Justin walked in on her while breastfeeding, fell apart when the actual texts revealed she invited him in.
They're the ones who are seeking gag orders against Baldoni from releasing information, whereas his team is saying, nope, let's put out everything. Every single text message. They're showing they have nothing to hide.
The second those texts were released, Blake's entire case fell apart. People who had defended her began switching sides. If she lied about something so big, what else was she lying about?
And I really love this story because, again, it speaks to this larger cultural thing of the Me Too movement. The
irony? Justin couldn't even attend his own movie premiere because Blake and Ryan Reynolds banned him. He produced, directed, and starred in the movie. But Blake controlled the event so completely that he couldn't even be in the room with his own work.
Yeah, they tried to completely intimidate him, and it's amazing to see that it hasn't worked.
Sam Baldoni had every right to get involved. Watching his son's career get hijacked by a woman spreading lies, with no one in Hollywood standing up for him, made it clear that this battle was about power. And Blake and Reynolds weren't prepared for the blowback.
It'd be very difficult for anyone to ever work with Blake Lively ever again.
Blake's actions backfired. The Hollywood Reporter cover exposed her lies, and the media's mocking tone sent a clear message. Hollywood was done protecting her. Insiders predict this legal saga might destroy her career forever.
Because if they would have won against him, a guy whose dream was to be a Hollywood actor, producer, director, they could have crushed his career if they would have won.
Meanwhile, Justin Baldoni is thriving. His family is standing strong, his legal team is firm, and his supporters are pushing back harder than ever. Blake is left to pick up the pieces, with her Hollywood standing in shambles.
The more time we got to spend with Blake Lively, the less we liked her, because she was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat. Blake Lively has got a bit of a god complex.
In her complaint, she said things like he walked in on her breastfeeding. She said things like he chastised her for her weight. All of this has been debunked by the text messages provided by Baldoni. She, in fact, messaged him saying, hey, I'm breastfeeding right now, but come into my trailer. Let's go ahead and run some lines.
Screening. She made him and his whole family go down to the basement.
Go down to the basement during the premiere of his movie. He literally was not even allowed to be at the premiere of his own movie because Blake Lively had alienated the entire cast against him. She had convinced everyone that he was this monster, this terrible person, so she could wield all creative control of the movie and end up getting her final cut of the movie, not Justin Baldoni. Didn't even get to see the final cut of the movie.
Get out of here.
Because Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds came in with their own team, their own editors. They completely hijacked this thing.
Well, shortly into production, Blake Lively is very dissatisfied with virtually everything around her, is like this virulent sexual harasser who can't stop harassing one of the biggest stars in Hollywood in front of everybody on the set. I've got questions. I'm not sure why he would do that. And so the more time we got to spend with Blake Lively, the less we liked her, the more her promotional efforts for a film about domestic violence felt off. She was full of giggles and laughter and wanted to promote her liquor brand. Nothing says domestic violence like a bottle of tequila. What? Justin Baldoni denied those claims of sexual harassment and only tried to appease Blake Lively because she was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat. And Blake Lively went to the New York Times, and the New York Times wrote this sympathetic poor Blake Lively story. Oh, we were all wrong about her.
Blake is saying things. I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but she compares herself to Khaleesi. I believe she has dragons. She's like, I have dragons just like Khaleesi. I have Ryan Reynolds and Taylor Swift. They were doing everything they could to intimidate this guy.
Taylor Swift. She is getting deposed. It is happening. I have it on very good authority that Taylor Swift is going to get subpoenaed. He has taken advantage of her, taken advantage of her brand. And I want to be clear, that has the potential to humiliate Taylor. First and foremost, no matter how you feel about Taylor Swift, you have to recognize and respect the fact that she is a machine, okay? She is an absolute machine. She will do everything to protect her image.
Just in while we're live, Taylor Swift is having bad blood with Blake Lively. I am not your dragon. I knew it.
Do you remember the scene where he's nice Paul and he's saying like, oh, she bounced back right after her pregnancy. It's okay, I can say that I'm a feminist. They're literally mocking Justin Baldoni.
She's actually a good person and a Me Too victim. And then Justin Baldoni did something very smart. He hired the lawyer who represented me in my fight with NBC News, which ended well. So normal people at home who don't care about this woman at all are looking at her like, I don't like her. She seems like a bully.
Other footage is coming out of Blake Lively admitting, hey, when I get involved with projects, they hire me as the actress, and sometimes I don't really tell them, but I actually want to come in and I want to rewrite it, and I want to be a producer, and I want to do all of these things. She's literally admitted all of this blatantly.